Good morning, everybody. Welcome to unit number 8. This is the final week of term 3. So very, very important things to remember. Number 1, all of your work is due Friday instead of Sunday this week. So that is completely different than we're used to. But grades are due on Sunday. So all the work has to be in by Friday. Otherwise, it can't get graded. So make sure that you have turned everything in by the end of day on Friday. If for some reason there's some emergency, you need to let me know. You can email me, send me a message, let me know that I should expect something Saturday morning or whatever. We can talk about it, but typically Friday is the cutoff for everything. Now, the most important thing about that is that if you have work that is late from either Unit 6 or Unit 7, that 100% has to be turned in by Friday, period. End of discussion. I do still have late work accepted for those last 2 units, but has to be in by Friday. So make sure that if you are having trouble, that you are communicating with me. Let me know what's happening so that I know what to expect. But when the term ends and grades are due, there's just I can't accept work after that. So that's where we are. This week, fortunately, is also a little bit lighter in terms of the workload. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening this week. And then because this week's work is a little bit lighter, maybe if you do have something from 6 or 7 that you didn't finish on time, that you might have a little extra time, excuse me, to do that this week. So like I said, we're in Unit 8, which is about reflection. As usual, you want to look at the readings and resources before you do anything else. We've got some information on journaling. We've got some information on writing using opinion versus research, sort of the subjective versus objective thing. This kind of plays into why teachers will say you don't want to write in the first person when you're writing for academic purposes, because we want that objective tone of voice. So this video will kind of help with that a little bit. The next one is really good for helping you be a better student. One of the things that people really struggle with is reading comprehension. And so annotation is one of the many ways to take notes when you're reading. So it's a good video for just your ability to be a good student. And then finally, of course, we have a motivational short video. And of course, as most of you guys know, I'm a Disney person. So the Monsters Inc. Connection here is always a good one. All right, so in terms of your writing assignments this week, you do not have a formal writing assignment. You have a discussion board and a journal. These are the 2 things that are graded. We also have a final discussion, which is not graded, which is a reflection on the course and also on the content of the course. So I do encourage you to do this final discussion, but it's not for a grade. So you also, with that one, don't have to, comment back to anybody else. Now, this week's discussion, because you have basically 2 fewer days to do it, you only have to respond to one of your peers in order to get that full credit for responding to others. So this week's discussion is about your writing skills. How has your confidence level in your writing skills changed over the last 8 weeks? How has your ability to write about different topics changed your perspectives on the world? What have the journals you completed in the course taught you about the world and yourself? And many of you have had very positive things to say about the journals, so you can utilize that in this discussion board as well. And then, of course, like I said, you only have to respond to at least one of your peers this week. Feel free to respond to more, but because everything has to be done by Friday instead of Sunday, that is why. And then last but not least, writing assignment wise, is your final journal. And we're focused on digital literacy, which is something we've really been focused on in this whole class. So you were introduced to digital literacy in Unit 7. Give one personal example of when you were a good digital citizen and one personal example of where you were confused or upset by something online. So, as I've talked about with the journals before, this needs to be based on your personal experience. So, this does need to be a story of something that has happened to you that you have actually experienced, one when it was a good thing and one when it was confusing or upsetting. And then, of course, like I said, that final one, I love this one and I really encourage you to do it. It's not for a grade, but this I find helpful for the next group. So, after having the opportunity to complete the course, what would you change and why? What topic particularly caught your interest and what do you want to know more about? Last but not least, if you could share with the next class one piece of advice about this particular class, what would it be? And of course, it really pertains to the content of the course. Um, in terms of, advice to others, is it time management? Like what would you suggest to future students in this course? It's been great working with all of you. Like I said, if you are running behind this week, it is even more important than usual that you get in touch with me and that you let me know what's happening, so that we can work together to get you completed by Sunday morning instead of Sunday night, because grades are due on Sunday. So if you have any questions, do reach out. You guys know where to find me. I appreciate you, and I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season. Mickey and I are wishing you a merry period here. So everybody take care and let me know if you have any problems or questions this week.